Hi everybody, my name is Sam and welcome to today's video. Today I am going to be talking about Ernest Hemingway's first novel, The Sun Also Rises. I just finished it for the second time and I just want to tell you what this book is about briefly and also share a few thoughts and takeaways. So I absolutely love The Sun Also Rises. I read it well over a decade ago. I still think it's a masterpiece and deserves to be read. I just think it's a really fascinating book that has a lot to say about life and even kind of gives you a cool look at a really interesting time in history. And so The Sun Also Rises, it was written in 1925 and it takes place in Paris in the 1920s, and it focuses what is known on the lost generation. And this was a term that was coined by Gertrude Stein and used by Ernest Hemingway to describe these certain people who are living in the world. And it was these younger adults who lived through and fought in World War I and were now living life after the First World War. And World War I just devastated the world. The world had never seen anything like this before. And I think it really had its impact on those young adults who lived through this war, who fought through the war as well. And it kind of changed them. And so this book talks about these people. The characters are members of this lost generation. And it kind of explores, the desires of this group. And what motivated them. And as I mentioned, this book takes place in Paris, and that's really important too, because Paris in the 1920s was probably one of the creative capitals of the world. All these writers and artists were flocking to France to live in Paris and to be around each other. So Ernest Hemingway went from America to Paris. Scott Fitzgerald went to Paris. You have writers like James Joyce and the poet Ezra Pound and Pablo Picasso, and I could just keep naming all these lists of people who were going to Paris. They would go there, and it was like this very social city. Every night they'd go to a cafe, and they'd spend time with each other, and they'd befriend all these other creative types. And so the book is kind of highlighting that atmosphere. And so it follows a man by the name of Jake Barnes who fought during World War I. And he is injured because of the war. And basically he really loves this girl named Brett. And the book follows kind of their relationship and also some of their friends as they go from Paris to go to Spain to see the running of the bulls and to see some bullfights. And that's kind of the simple setup. And they spend a lot of time in Paris. They spend a lot of time partying and drinking and kind of just socializing, which was what I think Hemingway was trying to say the Lost Generation did. And he just really focuses in on, what was it like living in Paris during this time. And it sounds pretty appealing. I mean, I don't drink, I don't party, but I can feel the atmosphere that he's creating. And I mean, even Woody Allen made a movie called Midnight in Paris, which is just about the same feeling which Hemingway is describing, that there was something special in Paris in the 1920s. And it's just amazing to read Hemingway, his description of this. Now, about these characters and these members of the Lost Generation, after World War I, they wanted peace, they wanted freedom. And this kind of was building up to the Roaring '20s as we know them now, which was kind of a time of materialism and partying and socializing, having fun, not having a care in the world. And we know what the end of the decade brought. After the Roaring '20s, obviously, we go into the Great Depression. But that's the Lost Generation, is all these people who are chasing kind of their desires and just living life. And so it's kind of two sides of a coin. In The Sun Also Rises is, yes, you see this great life, this fun life, this social life, where these characters appear to be so free. They can do whatever they want. They can move to Paris. They can write in the afternoons and sleep until noon. They can visit all these cafes and all these bars and restaurants and just have fun. But by the end of the book, you realize the other side of the coin, that these people are broken, and a lot of them have so many issues. And we just get a snippet as we see this, as the plot moves on, of just like how broken these people are. And it just captures perfectly what the Lost Generation was and what Hemingway felt the Lost Generation was. And so I really love The Sun Also Rises. I consider it a masterpiece. I think it deserves to be read. I don't know how widely read it still is. I think it is. I think a lot of people still consider it Hemingway's best book, if not one of his best books. And so yeah, I recommend this book. Let me know below in the comments if you've read this book and what you thought about it. Be interested to read that. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.